Welcome to day 6. We will be going over the 6th line of trauma epigenetically. It's passed down through bloodlines. And this particular trauma is the trauma of separation. Now, I did the trauma of suppression on the first day, and it does have a lot of similarities to separation. But we're going to get into the trauma of separation right now in more details. So if it seemed like I scrambled some words, it's just because there are a lot of similarities between the two. And so those with the trauma of separation, as I mentioned, it starts with birth. Just like the trauma of suppression, it often starts with birth and the way that we're raised in school, our teachers, and many of those different forms of indoctrination that really do change who we are. Individuals with this genetic trauma may have this feeling that they don't fit in anywhere. Maybe even as a kid, you felt like the outsider. For a little while, we were saying weirdo gang gang because we acknowledged that throughout our childhood, we were called weird because we were different. So this particular trauma is actually not all negative. There's a lot of positive with this, and it provides you with the ability to create community, attract like-minded individuals once you start to heal this sense of separation, and you will start to see that there are a lot of similarities between you and other people who very well may be here to heal these same traumas. And you'll notice that you face similar struggles, but this does require vulnerability and transparency and opening up a little bit more. Human awareness in modern times is something that's more difficult because life is so much faster. And as life is speeding up, time is speeding up, you can feel separate just from yourself, period. And it can be difficult for you to find ways to be able to work with the current energy and the way that things are flowing. So separation is something that will benefit you to actually embrace the fact that you feel separate and different. And it can actually be used similar to the way that we used it to actually communicate a message of this can be overcome. And yes, I never felt like I fit in, but it doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of having people who get me and like-minded individuals who understand me. But if on a subconscious level you have an inner dialogue that is always fueling you to feel separate, it is going to be difficult for you to develop closeness and true intimacy. And this particular trauma of this 6th line offers you transformation. It happens as a result of deep self-reflection, going inwards, focusing less on the external things that prove that you are separate and different, and embracing the fact that you are a unique individual here to experience life in a sovereign fashion. I find that the trauma of separation is something that affects our relationships on a really deep level as well, because most people with this specific trauma were hypersensitive children. They were often misunderstood by others. And this created profound challenges where, we struggle to face the reality of this. And sometimes you can get in a space of just being stuck in a dark night of the soul phase, or being stuck in hermit phase, and you're afraid to put yourself out there. Because again, you feel separate, you feel different, you feel misunderstood, and there's this fear of being misunderstood. Now, as children with this hypersensitivity and fear of separation, it actually sometimes exposes us to being bullied. I was a kid who liked to play in dirt. I was making mud pies and picking leaves to make a pot of greens. And that was so fun for me. Before a lot of other kids, they would walk up to me and walk past me and be like, that's so weird. Like, why are you doing that? And, it kind of stuck with me. And throughout life, I felt like I had to be somebody else to fit in. So the goal for overcoming this imprint that's often on us since childhood to facilitate more growth and development is, again, observing this fact and being less judgmental and critical about this about yourself. Seeing it as something that makes you an asset versus making you butt in at every joke and someone that just people will never get and understand. This can cause you to be afraid to take risks, to take chances, to step out and try things new, to meet new people, or even the people already in your life, to go deeper in your connection with them. Because this is such a subconscious thing, it is embedded within us, and this process of rediscovering these parts of you that are actually positive qualities, it's going to happen through the sensitivity. So I know hypersensitivity has been something used in psychologies to reflect someone who experienced traumas, and maybe many different traumas, big and small. But hypersensitivity is a superpower, and I use hypersensitivity to be able to read people's Akashic records, to be able to look into the collective and see what the Akashic energy is intuitively coming up for us. So I took what was seen as a weakness and I turned it into my superpower. So there's a genetic mutation that happens when you start to change these things, because remember, this is imprinted on our cellular DNA. So we experience the world in a very different way. We're more empathic, and sometimes we can feel people's feelings more strongly than they feel their own feelings, even if they can't identify what those feelings are, because it's subconscious. We pick on the nuances of everything. And so that can be confusing, because like I feel separate, I feel different, I feel like I don't fit in, yet I'm empathic and intuitive, and it seems like I absorb emotions, not just from people, but even places. You could walk into a place where, argument happened, and you could feel the tension and subconsciously, unconsciously absorb that into your being and carry that with you throughout the rest of your day, or wherever you're going, or whatever you have to do, and even your job. And so it's really important to learn how to detach from certain experiences, and create a protective barrier around you energetically, which involves visualization, using your third eye, and choosing a color that you feel is helpful for protection for you. So if blue is your favorite color, that might be a good sphere to visualize around you at times where you may be absorbing someone else's emotions. Now, people that feel this, on the flip side, there's a gift. You can have a really deep love for humanity. You can have a strength of foresight, premonitions as well. And you're able to use these things to actually serve the greater good. There are many other strengths about this, and many other capacities that maybe you have not yet to reach, because it requires cultivation, and learning how to self-nurture and create routines that support this new person that you're becoming. You can actually leverage this genetic trauma of separation and make it work for you instead of trying to get rid of it. And I spent so much time trying to get rid of certain traumatic imprints on me. And it wasn't really working, and it actually led to me being more critical of myself and less compassionate. So some of the gifts of these individuals with the specific trauma, it can be something where your personal growth inspires someone else. People may even notice that you're becoming more outspoken and you're less afraid to speak your truth. Now, if your throat chakra tends to be undefined, then this may be different for you, and you may have a tendency to allow external world and external perceptions of other people to imprint onto you. So that's something that we can get into when I do your human design Akashic record reading. Now, with some of the experiences, that show up, a lot of it is unresolved pain from our ancestors. and it shapes our lives. And so sometimes we focus on the positive things that we are connected with through our ancestors, but it's equally beneficial to focus on, okay, but what has been the struggle in my bloodline? And once you ask the question, and once you open your heart and your mind to receive guidance, the guidance is going to come to you in the form of synchronicities. You may see signs and have reminders. Certain animals may cross your path. Certain insects may cross your path. And these things can have like really deep messages for you. Something so simple. And this is what creates a fulfilling life, where it's not determined so much on being able to create an environment that suits you at all times, but I'm more aware. I'm self-aware inside, self-aware outside. And because energy goes wherever our attention is, then by paying attention to the signs and synchronicities that are revealing to you, that you are beautiful just the way you are, it's just having the tools and the resources to build upon that, to increase your value system, because you're making deposits. You're investing in this new version of yourself. So if this is something that, is resonating with you and you would like to delve deeper into this, I would invite you to book a human design Akashic record reading with me, where I'm going to go over every aspect of your life, where you will be able to step more into this energy. We will go over chakra centers. We will go over your gates and your channels. And these are just different areas where we connect to these different experiences in our simulated reality. Life ultimately is a game. I know when life is life and it don't feel like it, but when you got the tools and the resources and a non-judgmental, like-minded community of truth seekers and people who are not afraid to go into these compartments that we use to create fragments of ourselves, so that we are better able to get through life without being rejected, abandoned, abused, and mistreated. So like with those tools, maybe that's what you've been needing to get to the next level. So I would love to be able to delve into this with you. As I said, you will receive a file with all of the information about you. That way we don't have to rush through the reading. You can take your time and go through it. You have 30 days to download the information in the file. And I will spend an hour with you going over some of the more things that I feel like is a priority, or maybe something that you feel is a priority for you to be able to understand about yourself and use to navigate whatever may be occurring in your life now and future. And we can also go over your Saturn return, your Uranus opposition, your Chiron return as well, because these are cycles of life. So you're not the same through every cycle. We're always changing. The one thing that's consistent in this reality, in this universe, is change. And it's consistently inconsistent. And so that means that being grounded and anchored and sure of who you are and the direction that's most suitable for you is going to allow you to move through life with more ease, more peace, more wisdom, less stress, less drama, less trauma, less karma. Do I got any more rhyming words that I could throw out there? And maybe just be as gentle as a llama. Oh my goodness, y'all. As you can see, I'm so much more comfortable just, expressing me just as I am. And, it's so much more to come. I want you to be prepared for 2024. So go ahead and book it, because I am booking up kind of fast and booking out. So yes, don't wait. Tap in. These prices will not last for long, but I'm keeping it open until the beginning of the year. After that, the prices will change. However, I will still be available for you if you would like to wait until the new year. But what better way to create a New Year's resolution, and get through the holidays and whatever we absorb throughout the holidays, to be able to have a reset. I think this is the greatest gift that you could give to yourself, no matter when you find this video and watch this. So I just want to thank you and give honor to you for staying to the end and listening, because I know there's so many other things you could be focused on other than trauma. And it really don't sound fun. It sounds like it could be a drag sometimes, but I'm telling you, the discomfort of delving into the shadow aspects of yourself is definitely going to be worth it, because the reward that it brings is knowing yourself, which means that everything else that comes into your life will be in alignment with the authentic self and not the false self that you created to try to keep people from discarding you and abandoning you. All right. Namaste, Namaste.